which I would mash. Which one do you think I would put? It works so great because the sweet potato is already kind of obviously very sweet, and it has a great body. It's not too wet. It's so perfect, and it really works great in a brownie. And you know what? Shout out to the person I learned this from, and I don't know who it was because it was a search on the internet, which I will find. But some people had done like 10 brownie recipes with different egg replacers, and they put this in first. So I tried it, and I tried others I followed there, and they were right. It's amazing. So, love you. I'm going to try to get this to work today. For some reason, somebody help me out with this. Somebody send me a text on my team because my button on my request thing is just very iffy. Like it worked great when I was trying to get it before, and now I can't get it to work at all. So annoying. And I have a pretty new phone too, so I don't know what the deal is. It just won't work. It doesn't like me. Maybe. Okay, I don't know what to do at this point. I love you. I'm loving you all sending me hearts because you love me and you see me struggling and you're like, oh no, what is she doing this time? You guys are the best. She has requested, but I cannot get the request button to open the request, so that's the problem. Okay, I love you. This is so insane. I'm going to go off and come back on, okay? We'll try. Well, I'm going to try it one more time. Hello, iPhone. Hello. Okay, I'm going to go off. I'll come back. Everyone else has to come back. It's so annoying. I'm really sorry. I don't know why on my phone. Anyone send me a tip here, guys. Tell me why the request button is so difficult on my phone. I am going to check the request now. Hopefully Deja will be there right away, and we'll be good to go, and hopefully it'll work. Otherwise, Deja's going to have to call me on the phone. Okay, I've got my request up. There she is. Okay, we're going to do it now. Awesome. Okay, awesome. Deja's coming on. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for coming back on. Always fun. Yay! Hi!
I felt so helpless on the other end. It was like, oh no!
It's the worst. You know, sometimes you push that button and just nothing happens.
I know. The dual live feature can be tough, but hey, thank you from your backyard. I saw the brownies. Those looked awesome.
Oh, I have to show them again now because my video, of course, did not say so. I made these brownies. And I will, after we talk to Deja, I'll show you again what I used to make them instead of eggs because I did not save that video. That was not worth saving. Deja, how exciting to meet you.
It's great to meet you, too.
What an incredible human you are. And, I mean, I was talking to somebody about, I don't even know where to start with you. You've done so many incredible things. You're only 19 years old.
I just turned 20.
20,
so
awesome. Only 20.
In the past, scary new adventure into adulthood, I guess.
Yeah. Are you in New York City or because you're in Columbia or are you home in San Diego?
Columbia, but given COVID, they're not returning to in-person classes, so I actually am in San Diego, sunny San Diego.
Nice.
Which has been a really great switch up. My skin is clearing up, which is exciting. I have a beach, which I've never had, and it's not the 110-degree weather of my hometown in Arizona. So a good middle ground, you know?
Yeah. It's supposed to be super hot in California this weekend, though. We have to prepare for it. But you know what? There's so many things to ask you about. You've done so many different activism. You're involved in so many things, which I love. Of course, we have a plane going by now. You know, I think that's one of the things we talk about a lot is the intersectionalism of activism
and all the different ways that you're using your voice, do you have something right now that all your work on behalf of women, I mean, it's so mind-blowing how you've had the courage to do what you've done. Is there something right now that's burning in you that you're most involved in right now? I know there's...
Yeah, so, I got started in the reproductive justice movement. It was sex ed and then birth control access, but really scaled my work up and looked at, how can I build strategies and build power in people that, create lasting change? And as someone who was born and raised with social media, a lot of the young people probably tuned in, I realized I had this, unique set of skills to bring social justice and social media together. And after I worked on the Kamala Harris campaign, so post-campaign, and then on the onset of COVID, I looked at all of these nonprofits who I support, who I worked with, who do incredible work, and I realized that so many of them hadn't had the chance to invest in the digital infrastructure and the digital audiences that they needed to be successful when everything went online, right? When they couldn't go out and door knock, when they couldn't go out and table anymore. And so what I really committed myself to now is helping them build that digital infrastructure, helping them build digital audiences so that way they can continue the really awesome and important work that they're doing in this new normal. And the other piece of that advocacy, I think that's really important, is telling young people that you are the experts in so much of this, right? We need you. We need young people. We need folks who were born and raised with social media to create these new strategies as we step into this unprecedented new digital normal. So that's what I've been up to. I've been doing a lot of at-home computer work, building up influencer campaigns to get out the vote, and for labor unions, and for substance abuse prevention coalitions, and all of everything in between.
I love what you're doing so much. So much of social media, so much of everything, there's a downside, there's a dark side, there's the corporate side. And the fact that people like you are using it all for good, being on Instagram for good, using your platform for good, it's so amazing to me. I'm so impressed with you. Can I ask you a question?
You can.
You know what interests me about that is, what do you think it was about you that made you, let's go back to the Jeff Flake thing. What made you willing to speak up? People think things all the time, but there's a difference between someone who thinks it or feels it and is willing to step up. Do you think there's anything in your upbringing or your, just anything? Yeah. What are the things?
Let's give a little bit of context about me, right? So I was raised by a single mom. I was raised in a household where we often had to struggle to afford rent, to afford food, the very basics, right? And so in some ways my life, people always ask me, how'd you get involved in politics? And I feel like my life has always been political, right? When you live in Section 8 housing, when you rely on food stamps, when you rely on Medicaid, your life and the things that you need to exist and survive and thrive decisions are being made about those things often outside of your reach, right? And in that way, my life has always been political, but it actually took me experiencing homelessness when I was 15. So experiencing hidden homelessness. It's what 1 in 30 young people in the U.S. experience, is bouncing between friends' houses, right? Staying with friends or a significant other or extended family and not having a stable place of your own. That pushed me into the activist sphere. So I started using my story, showing up to school board meetings and saying, this sex ed curriculum that was updated in the 80s is built to disadvantage students like me. It's built to make sure that students like me don't get to go to college, right? And so I used my story, and I saw the power in that. And I actually had it's sort of interesting that you asked, because I think what made the real difference was not something, but someone, an organizer who came into my life and was like, I'm going to meet you where you're at. I'm going to drive you the 3 hours to the training because your family doesn't have a car. I'm going to make sure that, when we meet up, I take you out to lunch so you have, food to eat and someone that you can rely on. And that organizer helped me see the power in my story and see my own potential and pushed me to see it too. And she was there that night, right, when I was telling Jeff Flake all about me and my life. And she was there sitting on the floor when I was scribbling notes about what I was going to say on CNN the next night. And she's been there by my side ever since. And I think when we show up for each other in that way and we really invest in people, we can't lose. And that's how we build sustainable movements.
That is such a great story. Can you say her name? Do you feel comfortable saying her name?
My name is Deja Fox. Her name is Melissa Garcia. Big sister energy. I love her very much. She was an organizer at Planned Parenthood when I first started out. And I give her a shout out everywhere I can because she's just I think, like, the turning point for me. And I think when I think about what I want to be in my life, it's not like, oh, I want to be this title or that position, but I really think my purpose is infinite, and that's to be a good role model. That's to be the kind of person who shows up for others the way she showed up for me.
Wow. I love everything about that story. I love what it took for you to do that, what inspired you, and I love that you mentioned her. And I think that's important because a lot of the people who might be watching this live stream may be young people who are inspired by you, and some might be adults who are inspired by that and go like, I might make a difference for someone. And what about Gen Z Girl Gang? Can you just tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so Gen Z Girl Gang, right, that I founded about a year ago. It's a digital and in real life community of young women and femmes who are really pushing to redefine sisterhood. And it's built out of that story that I just told you, right? Someone who lifted me up, who brought me along, because I think all too often when we look at what are our examples of success, we see older white men who are competitive, who push each other down, whose success is built off of keeping people like you or me or Melissa down, right? Like my sisters and my friends. And so when we think about what does success look like for Gen Z, women and femmes, it has to be bringing each other up. It has to be a different definition of success that isn't based on pushing each other down, and isn't dependent on keeping other people below you, but is instead dependent on like bringing other people up so we can all be stronger together. And so, yeah, if you want to follow, you can follow at Gen Z Girl Gang. It's a wonderful community of young women and femmes who are like really out there to support each other and who see their successes tied to one another. We do awesome trainings and community building, and it's open to anyone.
Wow, it is open to anyone. Is it just joining on the Instagram sort of and being a part of the support network?
Yeah, so you join on Instagram, and then, you know, there's other features like a newsletter and a website where you can stay informed. But really, we're so committed to pushing the way that we use social media as a community building tool. So a lot of our programming happens on Instagram. Like, we have these college mentorship chats. And instead of doing them in something like Slack or GroupMe, we actually did them in Instagram DMs because we knew that that's where young people were at. So we were like, let's meet young folks where they are. Same with like when we were hosting these groups so that way they could go to protest together and not feel alone. We hosted them on Instagram DMs. That way we could really push this social media, this platform, to be a better community building tool because it can be very isolating. And we're trying to build new and innovative strategies to like really make it something where we can all come together and connect on a deeper level and build communities.
I feel like I could talk to you all day. I'm supposed to go because I have to talk to you. But I just am so inspired by you. And I talk to a lot of really smart people all the time because we have an incredible team, a support team. Sure. And you are just out there. You're incredible. Like, I cannot wait. I mean, I do hope you run for office someday. I mean, what
2036, I plan to run for president and win. I don't just plan to run, I plan to win.
2036. Okay, I want to work on your campaign. I'm going to take really good care of my health so that I'm still in really good shape. And I'm going to work on your campaign, and I cannot wait.
Thank you. I appreciate your support and really thoughtful questions. This has been awesome. And I can't wait to find out what was in the brownies.
Okay.
What is the sweetener?
I'm going to show it right after this. So thank you, Deja. Everybody follow Deja Talks. Join Gen Z Girl Gang. Thank you for using your platform for good. And that everything you're doing, I know you're helping the planet too, which we love. So we love you.
I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah.
That's a personal note.
Way to go.
3 years.
Ooh, awesome.
But thank you again for having me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Okay, bye. Thank
Later.
you. Okay, that was amazing. Isn't she amazing? Holy cow, did you love her? If you missed that, you've got to watch back because it's inspiring. Gen Z Girl Gang she's created. She's doing so much for all of us. Her activism should help us make us feel empowered. She just was a 16-year-old girl who was moved by the situation, moved by her experience, and stood up and shouted out and spoke up and has been doing it ever since. She's got my vote, too. I see that you said that. Okay, just a little segue to the brownies. So here's the brownies. What did I use to replace the egg in the brownies? Did I use A, applesauce, B, bananas, C, flaxseed meal with water. This is without water, but I would add water, let it get all gummy and gooey, and then I would use that. chia seed meal. Well, you might have seen me use this on my French toast when I did Quarantine Kitchen. Oh, or sweet potato. What do you think I used? If you were here earlier from my very, very bad Instagram Live where I couldn't connect, I used sweet potatoes. You mash up the sweet potatoes, 1/4 cup equals 1 egg, and that's in the brownies, and it works great. It gives it body, it binds it, it gives it moisture, but it's not too moist. It's a little bit sweet, doesn't have a weird flavor like flaxseed or chia seed I might use in a different situation. I use bananas when I make pancakes and applesauce. More about that in another week. Maybe I'll make these brownies coming up soon. But we have one more amazing person to talk to. Please stay with me because I am going to talk now to Courtney. Oh, good, it's working again. Courtney at Power the Polls. I hope she is requesting me now, or maybe she already has. Courtney requests to come on from Power the Polls. We are going to talk to her about becoming a poll worker. I think if you've been following me at all, you know that I've been posting a lot about becoming a poll worker. Here we go. Well, let's let Courtney tell us. This would be exciting to... Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi, so nice to see you again.
It's so nice to see you, too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I posted all about yesterday. What an exciting day that was. I watched the live. So good.
Yeah, it was really exciting. We had a goal of 250,000 poll workers in advance of November, and we just crushed that goal yesterday. So, we're upping that to internally, and we're super, super excited. So, yes, very successful National Poll Worker Recruitment Day.
Yeah, so everybody, this is Courtney from Power the Polls. I've been posting a lot about this, but as you've seen from my posts and hopefully from Power the Polls, you can sign up, even if you're not 18 in many states, to be a poll worker, which is one of the ways you can help our democracy, make sure everyone can vote. Courtney, why don't you just tell everybody about that a little, because I'm sure you can say it better, what you're needing, why it's important right now.
Absolutely. So we're so happy to have the support of the entire Baird family in this important initiative. So, frankly, most poll workers who historically serve, and they serve routinely year after year and election cycle to election cycle, are over the age of 61. Many of those people who routinely sign up and do their civic duty don't feel comfortable doing that this year in the age of COVID. So we're asking people, particularly young people, to step up and step in and fill those gaps and make sure that we can address this nationwide poll worker shortage. So we saw the negative impacts of the poll worker shortage in some of the primaries. D.C. lost 1,700 poll workers. And in Kentucky, they actually consolidated all of the polling locations into one polling place for each county. So it made it much harder for people to vote in person. There were long lines. So we're trying to avoid that for the November election. And we're really asking people, young people, incredible people like Deja I just watched, hard act to follow.
Right?
So we're asking the next generation to really step up and help us serve this need so that we can keep as many in-person polling locations open and make sure that as many people can participate in the democratic process in November.
Amazing. Now, of course, we're going to be talking about voting a lot because, we're focused on the environment, healthy eating, feeding people in need, food insecurity, and of course all these are issues which, when you vote, it's going to determine how policies are made that help all of these issues. So voting is crucial. Whatever you're going to vote for, it's crucial that you do vote. We're going to encourage people to vote early in whatever way they can, through the mail or delivering their ballot early. But if people end up voting on the day, it's going to be very crowded. I know even in my neighborhood, which honestly the polls used to be kind of empty, at the primary there was lines around the block. Crazy, it's very worrisome. So tell us what a day in the life of a poll worker, just a brief. I always see the poll workers, to be honest, all my life I've gone and voted. Well, mostly I vote by mail now. But when I used to go vote in person, I'd see the poll worker, and I'd actually wonder, what was their day? And I know my parents were poll workers when I was young. So what would it be like? How many hours would it be asked of someone?
So that's a great question, and actually I'm going to give you the completely unsatisfactory answer of it depends. because there are states that allow statutes to break up poll worker shifts. But in many cases, it's a long day. It's a long 16-hour day, and it's a service we're asking people to provide. But the benefit of signing up through Power the Polls is that we're working to make sure it's the next generation that's engaged. We're helping people sign up with their friends. Families are serving together. People are learning about the civic process together. They're engaged. And it turns out that younger people who serve as poll workers are much more likely to keep voting. And to your point, it matters a lot to have that next generation civically engaged in voting on issues, particularly climate change issues, and things that are really going to impact them in the longer run.
I have a funny question. If you are assigned to a poll, it's probably not going to be the poll where you vote yourself. So how do you vote on that day if you're a poll worker?
That's a great question. Oftentimes, poll workers vote early so that they can be there to staff the polling locations. So they'll either submit a ballot early, or they'll go early, or they'll go sometime during their shift, and they'll coordinate. So there are opportunities. It's very important to all election administration officials that poll workers do get the chance to cast their ballot as well.
For sure. It would be the worst day if you were a poll worker and you realized you hadn't gotten to vote.
I get your sticker.
I think voting is one of the the only thing about voting by mail is you don't get that incredible endorphin boost of going to vote, but voting by mail, if you get it in early this year, a little competition now, it's a thrill to vote. I've always found it was one of the great joys of life, being a voter, helicopters buzzing us. I had my whole family go to the last election with me. This last election we voted absentee, we voted by mail, but the 2016 we all went together. It was an exciting moment. Whatever turned out the rest of the day, it was an exciting moment. So Power the Polls, they can just go sign up on your website. Will you have another orientation kind of like you did yesterday? Will there be other chances so people didn't miss out on learning what they have to do? They don't have to be scared.
No, absolutely. We're going to continue to hold briefings and trainings. We're going to do local events with local artists. Last night, as you know, for the live event, we had over 18,000 people who had signed up to be poll workers that day join us. We had an incredible video from Billy. Thank you so much. And we have a ton of excitement going on. And so we will continue hosting these virtual events, these briefings on health and safety, on the day in the life of a poll worker, and just to keep people excited and enthusiastic about working the polls, because this is a really exciting time. So.
Yeah, I'm excited for young people. I mean, it's a scary time, let's be honest. It's an intense time, but the fact that people can get involved in the process young and stay involved, and that maybe more people will be involved now. Politics has gotten to be kind of an older person's sport, if you will, and I think it's important that we let the young people step right up and take over, because look at Deja, they're incredible, and you're very young too, so thank you. Well, thank you so much. People, please go to Power the Polls. You can always go to Billy's page too. There's a link on her website if you're confused, but you can just literally Google Power the Polls. And here's Courtney, and she'll be looking for you. Secretly, she'll be seeing who came from here. So thank you, Courtney, so much.
Thank you. And yeah, please do go sign up at powerthepolls.org/Billie Eilish. And so Billy can get credit for all of the amazing poll workers out there. And we look forward to seeing you and hosting you. And thanks again, Maggie, for having me and for your support.
Thank you. We love what you're doing. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting us talk to Deja Fox, joining us. You guys want me to take a couple questions? I'll just take one of you very quickly. Let's see. My live is working. I'm going to take one of you. I hope you really want to come on, because sometimes I push the button and somebody doesn't come. So let's see. I've got friends watching and they're texting me, loving all these people. I'm going to ask, hey.
Hi.
I know people hide because they don't really expect to come on. How are you?
I'm literally so shocked right now. I can't believe you added me to your lives.
Well, it's nice to meet you. It sounds like you do not live in the United States.
No, I don't. I live in the UK.
In the UK. I know we're probably more on UK time. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just so shocked you added me to your life. Like, you're such an amazing person, and I'm, gonna cry.
Oh, well, thank you. You're so kind. Did you get something out of watching Deja and our Power the Polls, even though you're not in the U.S.? Aren't they?
She is, like, a very inspirational person, and I think what she's doing for, like, this generation is just amazing.
I do, too. And I'm sure you're doing things, too. Are you old enough to vote in England?
Not at the moment, no. So, but I will probably be able to in a few years' time. So.
Well, Deja got involved in social action at 16, so never too early.
Yeah.
Have you listened to Phineas's song today?
I'm just about to, actually.
It's really beautiful. It's going to make you cry, though, just to warn you. I'm going to hang up, but I'm so nice to talk to you. I can't wait to come back to England, and maybe we can meet you.
Okay, love you.
Love you too. Bye.
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 I don't quite know how to hang up on you, so you might have to hang up.
Okay, bye.
Well, I'm hoping all of you are voting. If you're too young to vote, many states will let you be a poll worker. Isn't that cool? Even if you can't vote, you could be there on election day working the polls. And when she says it's a long day, I don't know, long days are fun. Long days with a bunch of people that you're working with, doing something empowering. I can't think of a better day personally. So I hope many of you will sign up to Power the Polls. I hope you're going to join Gen Z Girl Gang. And I just love you guys so much, and I love meeting you. Go listen to Phineas' song. It's a sad one, but it's a relative to this very hard time with COVID. I think you'll be inspired by it in a heartbreaking way. But I love you all. Have a good day next week or soon. Brownies.
أنا جاية.